So Donald Trump is officially the war president. He has to own that now. He can no longer say that he's no more wars, and no one in MAGA can say no more wars because he has now called it the Department of War. He is renaming it that because that's the person that Donald Trump is. It would be one thing if he ran on no more wars and then started a war. You know, that would be typical politician bullshit that you just see them break their promises. But in his case, it's no longer the Department of Defense. It's the Department of War, by God. I'm the no more wars president, but we're going to have the Department of War back, and we're going to declare war on American cities. That is the extreme that Donald Trump takes it to, and I think it's very important to always point out that this is radical right-wing extremism, straight up. There's no more saying, well, we're slipping into a dictatorship, or we're slipping into authoritarianism, or we're slipping into an oligarchy. No, folks, we're there. We're in it now, and what we have to do is figure out ways to navigate the waters and get us through this time, and history is going to judge us. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you right now, history will judge us when this is all over, so it boils down to, just like the old song said, which side are you on? The stuff you put out in the world, and I understand that not everyone's a content creator, not everyone has a YouTube channel, but everyone is putting their thoughts out into the world. And I really do believe there will be a time when someone, it may not be America, but there will be people that will look back and study this era, and they're going to see all the bullshit that people supported on social media. Bullshit like this coming from the war president, Donald Trump. And I think that's how that we need to refer to him, because he wants to lean into it, so let's make him own it. Look at this. This is from the leader of the free world. Before I even read it, I'm just going to let you look at it. You've probably already seen it, but that is supposedly the president of the fucking United States, and that's what he's posting. Shapocalypse now. And look at this ridiculous AI-generated picture that he thinks is entertaining. And he says, I love the smell of deportations in the morning. Chicago about to find out why it's called the Department of War. I know you probably need to pause the video and run outside and scream, so when you come back in, just pick up where you left off. But when Gavin Newsom is mocking Trump, it's funny. You know, it's funny when you see Newsom mocking Trump. But then you realize that Trump is just going to quadruple down on this shit even harder, and that's the kind of shit he's going to put out. And when he puts it out, he's serious. When he puts it out, he means it. When he puts it out, he thinks that is appropriate for the President of the United States to put out into the world a meme declaring war on one of his own cities. The guy who said, I'm the no more wars president, saying that now we have the Department of War. Now, I saw my good friend Texas Paul. I want to give him a shout out. I love Texas Paul. We're good friends. I saw his take on this whole Department of War thing, and I agree with him 100% because it had already went through my head. And when Paul said it, I was like, okay, I'm not alone. Someone else sees this the way that I see it. And so shout out to Texas Paul. But I think, and he did in his video said this too, but I think that calling it the Department of War is a good thing. Now follow me on this one, because now folks, they have to own it. By calling it the Department of War, they have to now own it. They don't get to say no more wars because now they have the Department of War. They don't get to say no more wars because they're threatening war on American cities. So words do matter and titles do matter. When something's the Department of Defense, people looks at that one way. When it's the Department of War, they're going to look at it completely different. Every time they say, and now let's hear from the Department of War, it's going to sting. It's going to hit different than Department of Defense. Department of Defense, you know, people can get behind that because, hey, we're defending our country. But Department of War, it hits different. And it's going to turn a whole lot of people off. A whole lot of people are going to be turned off by this. And while Donald Trump is flexing, he doesn't realize just what it's done. He may have actually ended up doing us a favor. We'll see how it plays out. But how do you feel in your gut when you hear the words Department of War? More people has that same feeling of that sick feeling you get in your gut when you hear it, because none of us wants any more war. And that's one thing that, the Marjorie Taylor Greens of the world will shout, no more wars. I agree with you, Marge. Really rare that we agree, but we do agree, no more wars. But you don't get to say that anymore because you helped elect the dude that created the Department of War and is declaring war on it. So now he is the wartime president. That's how I'm going to refer to him. Donald Trump is the war president. We have to make him own it. Now, I'm going to play you a clip here from Mike Quigley. He is a representative out of the 5th District of Chicago. He talks about of Illinois, excuse me. He talks about this ridiculous post that I just showed and how that Donald Trump is governing exactly like a dictator. Take a look.
The president also reposted on Truth Social earlier today. It was this meme that we talked about just a few minutes ago. And when you look at it, it says Chicago about to find out why it's called the Department of War, all caps. How do you read that?
Yeah, look, this is a scary time. For those who haven't paid attention, it's time to watch what this president is doing. It's instructive in history to remember that often tyrants are elected democratically at first, right? Putin, Viktor Orban, just to name two. And then they use the very aspects of democracy to bring it down. Here we're seeing the court system, the National Guard, the Justice Department, and so much more. So this is a president edging more and more toward authoritarianism, being a tyrant. You're talking about sending the troops against the public. The former general of the Illinois National Guard, General Hayes, said this could create a permanent stain on the image of the military in our country, and it's very dangerous. He's absolutely right, as is our governor, and this is a time to stand up against this.
Are you comparing the president to Putin?
I'm saying the president is more fond of Putin than he is of democratically elected other presidents. He's never criticized him. He's acting in a manner that Putin would, which isn't often to flaunt the law, but to use it in a way to be destructive of democratic practices. And in that way, he's acting like Putin.
When it comes down to it, to ask him the question, are you comparing him to Putin? Are you comparing him to a dictator? Yeah, we are, because that's exactly how that he's governing. He does not care about the Constitution. He does not care about the rule of law. He's going here and doing these things and going into places where it's not even necessary. This is all a manufactured crisis, folks. That's what it is. And I want to play this clip here from Lieutenant Governor Stratton pointing out that Chicago doesn't need this, but this is all for Donald Trump's political theater, and it's all for beating us into submission. Take a look.
Well, the latest that we know is that the ICE surge is going to begin perhaps as soon as today. And it's going to be exactly that. This is a manufactured crisis. Let's start with this surge. We're going into places like churches and schools, and as we just saw, courthouses, and stoking fear and knowing that people are going to react. And then when people do react, when they raise their voices, when they resist and protest, then the Trump administration is going to claim, well, now we have to come in and restore order. There is no emergency in Chicago. There's no emergency in Illinois. We have made it very clear at every level of government, we do not want them here. And there's no need to federalize the National Guard and have a military presence on American soil here in the city of Chicago. This is a classic page out of an authoritarian's playbook.
It truly is a page right out of their playbook, and I really do believe that what they're doing is trying to bait people into rebelling, to bait people into having a big moment, and then they can say, well, you know what, we're not going to be able to have a midterms, we're not going to be able to have an election because we have this crisis now that actually they manufactured. And I think back to every video that I made last year leading up to the election. I think back to all the conversations we had. I think back to all the live streams that I had and all the guests that I had on my show. And all of us said, this is what's going to happen if Donald Trump gets back in power. We absolutely now, we blow Nostradamus. He ain't got shit on us, okay? He really doesn't, because we predicted every damn bit of this. The only thing that we got wrong in my mind was we didn't realize just how fast it would happen And we didn't realize just how easy it would happen and how many people would actually roll over out of fear and let it happen. And that's the part when I'm trying to sort through all this in my brain. That's the part that I have the hardest time with is how did we let something happen so fast? Now you can say, well, Donald Trump loves the poorly educated and you can blame it on the poorly educated. But the truth of the matter is, I don't know if those people even vote half the time. I don't know if those people even go out of their way to vote or even really end the political argument. This happened because Donald Trump was able to spread fear and propaganda and aim everyone toward groups of people who they hate. For years, they've talked about Chicago. And I tell people when I travel outside of this part of the world, I say, where I'm from, here in East Tennessee, the Southeast Kentucky area, when you hear Republicans talk about, they always talk about Chicago, they always talk about Democrat-ran cities, and they've been talking this shit for years. It's been a massive talking point. And you can point to any problem that we have here in Appalachia and some hillbilly will go, yeah, but what about them Democrat-ran cities? And I've always said, what about these Republican-ran hollers that have been absolutely forgotten and no one even knows where the hell they exist and you can't even feed your fucking family? That's what I would like to be talking about. But they've spent all their time and energy talking about these Democrat-ran cities, and they have this hatred for the liberals and wanting to own the liberals, so they're looking forward to seeing it go to Chicago. And it happened that easily. It was just a matter of getting a bunch of stupid people who hates other people for no good goddamn reason. It was one of those things of getting those people stirred up. For years, I remember all the arguments I used to have with Republicans who they would say to me, oh, well, if you let someone have health care, that'll lead to socialism. That'll lead us to a dictator. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. Well, the Republican road led us straight to hell. That's where we're at now. And this one is on the people who voted for Donald Trump and all the people who decided to set out this election or write in a third party because they thought Kamala Harris couldn't do enough or didn't do enough or didn't take all the green M&Ms out of their bowl. Now we're here, and now we have to figure out how to combat this. The people in Chicago does not want Trump there, and here they are.
People will take you down. The people will take you down. The people will take you down. The people will take you down. Donald Trump, you racist clown.
Now, I have had some people say to me that they feel like protests don't matter, and they feel like that protests will never accomplish anything, and I disagree with that, and here's why. Protesting, getting out there, first of all, you let people know that you're not happy about it. You're letting the public see that you're not happy. Also, when you go to protest, what ends up happening is you end up building your community. We can sit and criticize MAGA all day long, but they built up one hell of a community. It's a community of hatred. It's a community of authoritarianism. It's a community that worships a dictator, but they did it, and they done it by going out there and getting on the streets and getting together. We have to do the same. We have to stand up for people. We can't leave people behind, and we have to stand against this war president because that's what he is. And every time they talk about no more wars, make sure you say to them, hey, no, you don't get that. You don't get that saying anymore. You lose that bumper sticker. You don't get that t-shirt anymore. That's ours now because we've always been over here against war. We've always been calling out wars, have been doing it for years. You all ran on it and then elected a dude that not only didn't end the war in Ukraine like he said he would in 24 hours. None of those things happened, but he's declaring war on the streets and now has the Department of War. So when he did that, as nauseating as it sounds, just remember this. When he called it the Department of War, he no longer gets to say no more wars, and he has to live with the fact that he is the war president.